welcome to SIRJ Labs. I'm Jake, and I'm joined by Rio. Say hello, Rio.
Hello.
Hello. Anyway, today we're starting a new series called Fight Night, where we each pick a character to argue for, and we fight with, well, not with them, we argue who would win in a fight. Yes.
So I have picked Spider-Man, Peter Parker of Earth 616.
And I'm arguing for Eren Jaeger from Attack on Titan. And I would like to preface this by saying this is not the manga version of Eren, whatever powers he may have gained. I have not read the manga. The version of Eren I'm using is the Eren Jaeger at the end of Season 1 of the Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
So, furthermore, for this series, episodes will vary in length depending on how long the arguments go on, and whether or not we can come to a verdict in any form of a timely fashion. And we are different in Death Battle in that this is completely non-scripted, except for, we do research. It's more like a debate.
Death Battle is, they research and jointly together come to who would win and then make the video. Right now, we haven't really in-depth discussed of the fight.
The degree to which we've discussed the fight is to the point where we've decided it would be an even fight.
Yeah. Like before we decided our opponents, we discussed it with each other. You're not gonna wind up with something like Superman versus
Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah.
So that was our intro. So each video is going to be broken into more or less 4 segments. There's the intro, which you just heard. Then there's going to be the opening statements, in which we give a fairly basic overview of each character's powers, and then the bulk of the video is just us arguing about it, and then the closing statements and the decision, which is the final part. And the decision can be one of 4 things, which is one or the other wins, and that's 2 of them, and then it could be neither wins or both win.
Yeah.
A neither win situation is a never-ending fight, and a both win situation is like 50-50 win-loss ratio.
Yeah.
If it's like 50 times out of 100 fights, X character would win over X character.
Yeah.
So anyway, opening statements. Rio, I understand that you would like to go first.
Okay. I did not understand that, but I will happily go first. So, Spider-Man when it comes to physicality and his physical powers, Spider-Man is very much a jack-of-all-trades character. He has some level of super strength, but he's not as strong as other Marvel contemporaries like The Thing. He does have a degree of super speed, but he's not as fast as Quicksilver. He does have a degree of a healing factor, but he doesn't heal as fast as Wolverine, In that way, he's very much of a jack-of-all-trade character. However, Spider-Man does have one thing in which he surpasses the majority of Marvel characters, and that is his reaction time. Given that he is incredibly fast with sprinting speeds approaching 200 miles per hour, and the stimulus from his spider sense, he can dodge pretty much anything. There have been moments when he has dodged gunfire at point-blank range. And he's even dodged a punch from other speedsters, such as in Avengers versus Thunderbolts. He one time dodged a punch from Speed Demon, who has powers similar to that of Quicksilver. So Spider-Man's primary thing is reaction time. His spider sense also allows him to form a 3D image of his spider sense, coupled with his sort of great intellect, allows him to form a 3D map of his surroundings, even when blinded. So he pretty much knows what's happening around him at all times.
Are you going to mention his webs or stickum powers?
Okay. His webs are pretty durable. I do think Eren in his Titan form could probably rip the webs. But I obviously don't think Eren normal form could rip the webs.
His swords could, but I'll get into that later.
Yeah, his swords might. I don't know the exact power of the 3D maneuvering gear swords, but If Jacob believes they could cut the webs, he knows a fair deal about both Spider-Man and Attack on Titan. So I'll take his word for that.
And then Spider-Man can stick to shit.
Yeah, he can stick to shit. Something not a lot of people know is that there is an offensive application of this called the Mark of Cain, where Spider-Man can rip a person's skin off by sticking his hand to a piece of their skin or whatever. But given a Titan's immense regenerative capabilities, I'm not sure how this could help him.
Yeah. So that is the lead-in to my opening statements. So Eren Jaeger is the prodigy of the human army in the series Attack on Titan. So Eren was in the top 10 of his class of recruits, which is phenomenally successful. He is arguably one of the better soldiers that the entire Scout Regiment in Attack on Titan. There are 3 regiments of the army: the Scouts, the Garrison, and the MPs. And he is one of the best soldiers the Scouts have to offer. He utilizes a piece of equipment called the 3D maneuvering gear, which is extremely similar in their applications to Spider-Man's webs, in that they effectively allow the user to maneuver in a 3D space by firing essentially grappling hooks, and it allows them to get from building to building very quickly, and they can hook into almost anything. And their speed is... When I looked this up, I couldn't find anything concrete, but the general consensus of the fandom and multiple sources I've checked put it at around 50 meters per second, which equates to about... Don't quote me on this, but I think that's 111 miles per hour.
Yep, it is.
So yeah, he can move at 50 meters per second with the 3D maneuver gear.
It's technically 111.8, so...
Whatever. So, and then the 3D maneuver gear also has the 2 swords, and the blades have been known to break, but that's only against the extremely durable Titan skin. And even then, the 3DMG has 3 backup blades for each sword, so basically he's carrying around 8 swords at any given time. The swords are made of a super hardened steel that are designed to cut through Titan skin. However, it is referred to as like super hardened steel, but in the fiction they haven't really talked about it cutting through anything other than Titan skin because they don't really use it for anything else.
So you're saying they don't use their super high-tech swords to cut bread?
No. But there's like no one knows if it can cut through regular steel or stone or whatever. But so anyway, that is the human side of Eren. But when people talk about Eren Jaeger versus somebody else, they're often not talking about human Eren. They're talking about Eren's superpower, more or less. So when Eren receives basically any form of damage, he can turn into a Titan. And that allows him...
I have a question about that. Yeah, remember, I've never watched Attack on Titan. Mm-hmm. Is it if he gets damaged, he just automatically turns into a Titan, or can he like?
He can control it. So when Eren turns into a Titan, this is an instantaneous process, more or less. Well, it's not literally instantaneous. It's not like poof, he's a Titan. He just grows into a Titan in a time span that's over the course of a millisecond, pretty much.
Yeah.
So Eren becomes a Titan, and in his Titan form, he is 15 meters tall, has extremely durable skin, super strength, and his leg length is basically he could go from one end of a city block to another at a jogging pace. It's like in one stride he could get from one city block to the end of another city block. And then Titan Eren also has an extremely good grasp of martial arts. And
He doesn't lose any knowledge when he becomes a Titan.
he does lose some knowledge. He loses knowledge, but
any knowledge,
he understands perfectly how to fight, and he knows whose team he's fighting for.
Okay.
So, Rio, would you like to begin the arguments?
Yes. So, I believe Spider-Man could theoretically win this fight because of a factor I actually forgot to mention. I did very briefly mention it, but Spider-Man does have a genius-level intellect. We are setting this fight in a city because we decided it would be preferable.
Oh, also, something I forgot to mention in the intro is these fights will always be set in a neutral place, and the fighters are not allowed to prepare for the fights beforehand, and they don't know anything about the other character unless they exist in the same universe, and it is probable that they would know something about the other character. And even then, they're not allowed to prepare beforehand.
Yes. Thank you, Jacob. So, assuming this fight is set in a city, given the power of Spider-Man's spider sense, like just sort of the potency of how much he can perceive using it, Titan can only be damaged by sharp damage, right?
Yes, and the blow. So a Titan can theoretically be damaged by anything, but their skin is extremely durable. The only things that have been seen to pierce Titan skin are other Titans, the super hardened steel, and direct hits from cannons.
Okay. Given Spider-Man,
and then a Titan's only weak point is the nape of the neck.
So, given Spider-Man's spider sense, and just the potency of what he can perceive, in addition to his genius-level intellect and his superhuman agility, I do think it is very likely that Spider-Man could locate some sort of sharp object, especially if they were in a city. Like, if you could find a telephone, like a wire or something.
Or you could pick up a piece of rubble or something.
Yeah, piece of rubble. And I find it very likely that he could, given the speed feats he has shown,
strength, associated strength.
Bullets at close range, his strength, which, according to Marvel Wikia, is currently at 20 tons. He can lift 20 tons at his maximum. Given all that, I do believe it's very likely that Spider-Man could get a wound to the nape of the neck in Eren's Titan form. Eren's human form, I don't really think will be anything approaching a challenge for Spider-Man. Even if he is a prodigy, Eren Jaeger's human form, because he is human, has normal human durability. Spider-Man has shown that with a tap to the head, but with his index finger, so if he taps a person with normal human durability on the head with his index finger, he can concuss them and knock them out with his physical strength. So Eren Jaeger's human form is nothing to Spider-Man. His Titan form is primarily the issue. And I believe that given Spider-Man's pretty much instant knowledge of all of his surroundings due to the spider sense, his immense intellect, he has an IQ of over 200, and his speed and strength, he could probably successfully land a blow to the nape of the neck of Eren's Titan form with some sort of sharp object and end the fight.
Okay. So, I feel like the problem with that argument is that Spider-Man has no reason to believe that the nape of the neck is Eren's weak point. And then you keep talking about, Spider-Man is so fast, but it's been shown multiple times all across many, many incarnations of Spider-Man that his speed is wildly inconsistent, and that he has been hit by normal humans, he's been hit by bullets, thrown objects, and the Hulk has hit him multiple times.
Yeah.
So, I feel like Eren certainly has the speed to retaliate, and even if Spider-Man was too small of a target for Eren to hit, which he is not, Eren could grab a building and push it down on top of Spider-Man.
But, so, Spider-Man's speed is very inconsistent, but part of the reason it is inconsistent is because it does Spider-Man's powers are very psychosomatic in a way. His mental state at the time changes what he can do. This was seen especially during his fight with what's her name, Sasha Kravinoff, where he suddenly, in his rage against her, he was able to unlock a power similar to that of his genetic twin, Kane, in burning the mark of Cain into people's face, which is not something it was thought he could do before. So if he's in a situation of anxiety, i.e. he's about to get shot at point-blank range, his speed and strength do dramatically increase from if he was just sort of casually fighting someone.
Okay.
So I assume if a building was about to be dropped on him, his speed would probably increase to around its maximum. He could probably dodge a Titan throwing a building at him.
Okay.
He does have limits. Don't interpret that as he's like the Hulk. You know, the more emotional he is, the stronger he is. He does have limits. As I've mentioned, his limit speed is about 200 miles per hour, and his limit strength is about lifting 20 tons. But if he's just calm, those numbers are much lower.
Also, I would like to mention that Titan weight and strength class is completely unknown because nobody is entirely sure what the materials in Attack on Titan are actually made of. No one's sure exactly how much Titan lifting is. No one's sure how heavy Titans are. But, So far this is seeming like a pretty equal fight. So, in the event of an equal fight on this show, we may begin calling on other interpretations of the character to assist us.
Yeah.
So, in the manga, Eren can summon other Titans to help him.
Oh. I can see that being a problem for Spider-Man, given that Spider-Man is not generally used to fighting large numbers of enemies while he's by himself. Yes, he has...
I don't think Spider-Man even has that much experience against opponents that are like 15 meters plus tall.
Yeah. But, like, I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so Spider-Man does not have a lot of experience in group fights. However, I believe he does have the skills, like he's equipped with the skills to handle a large number of foes. Given his various powers. Something to note about Spider-Man is because, as I mentioned, he's sort of a jack of all trades in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Is that because he's like mid-range strength, mid-range speed, mid-range durability, all that. He's very adaptable in fights, and especially given his immense intellect, he is able to formulate strategies very quickly. Also, it's very hard to distract him, given that he's able to sort of go on autopilot as a side effect of his spider sense. He's able to sort of go on autopilot and let his body fight for itself while he thinks of a strategy. Normally in fights he uses this to think of quips, but he, assuming it's a no-hold-barred, I always have trouble saying this, no-hold-barred fight, he would probably stop thinking of quips and he could use the time to think of strategy. So he could fight one Titan and think of a way to kill him. While he's fighting that one Titan, he could think of a way to kill the other four.
The thing is, the problem I'm seeing with your argument is Spider-Man has no conceivable method of figuring out, oh shit, you kill Titans by stabbing them in the neck. That is not sheer luck. So I think the way this fight would happen is, so in a say it's like out of 100 fights, I feel like Spider-Man would win 50 of 100 fights by getting lucky, and then Eren and the Titans that he can call would also win 50 of 100 fights by tiring Spider-Man out from fighting for that long without, getting lucky and figuring out what the weakness was, and then killing him when he's...
This fight, I will say we should go for the fourth alternative in the closing decision, nobody knows situation, because, given Spider-Man's intellect, if he landed a blow to the neck and it fell to Titan, I think Spider-Man's smart enough to figure out that the nape of the neck at that point is probably their weakness.
Yes, but I mean, the only way he would go for the nape of the neck as opposed to the eyeball is out of luck.
I know, but
For the
that's
first time anyway.
That's exactly what I'm saying right now.
So it's 50 times Spider-Man wins, 50 times Eren wins.
No, I'm saying it's a nobody knows situation because this is literally a flip of the coin, and mathematically it's impossible to determine out of 100 flips which is heads and which is how many will be heads and how many will be tails. It's possible to guess, but there's no mathematical way of determining who would win this fight. If Spider-Man did land a blow to the nape of the neck just by pure 100% luck, I do think he's smart enough to figure out, okay, this is a Titan's weak point. We should go for this point, and then...
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. But, again, why he would hit the nape of the neck out, as opposed to a normal human's vital spots, such as the eyes, the forehead, or various spots on the chest, is unknown.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go... So out of 4 alternatives, character A wins, character B wins, a tie, or nobody knows. I'm going to put in a vote for nobody knows.
I will agree with that statement.
Yeah.
So anyway, this has been SIRJ Labs with our new series, Fight Night. It should be uploaded more or less every Friday, and occasionally we will upload additional episodes for special occasions or if we just feel like it. But anyway, this has been Fight Night. I've been Jake.
I have been Rio.
Thank you for joining us, and we will see you all next time.